Imagine this. You spend 3 years, 1,000 days in a foreign country, working double shifts at a hospital that doesn't know your name. You miss birthdays, you miss anniversaries, you miss the sound of rain falling on your own rooftop. You do all of this because you love someone, because you are building something, because you believe that when you finally come home, your sacrifice will mean something. Now, imagine stepping off that plane, flowers in your hand, heart full, tears already forming at the corners of your eyes, and the key no longer fits the door. That is not the worst part. The worst part is who opens it. Stay with me, because what Linda discovered behind that door will make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty, love, and the people you trust with your heart. Before we go further, if you are new here, welcome to Tales by RM. This is where real stories live. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications, because we drop stories every week that will move you, shake you, and remind you that life is stranger and stronger than fiction. Now, let's go back to Linda.
Linda had not told anyone she was coming home. She had planned it that way. The surprise, the joy on Raymond's face, the hug that would make 3 years of hard living finally feel worth it. She had even bought a new dress for the occasion. She had packed it right at the top of her suitcase. Her name is Linda Okafor. And 3 years ago, she had left Kumosity with nothing but a nursing qualification, a marriage certificate, and a dream. The plan was simple: go abroad, work hard, send money home, and build the kind of future that 2 people could be proud of. She had done exactly that. Every month, without fail, she transferred money home. For furniture, for bills, for the house she had poured her savings into, her name on every foundation brick. The taxi turned onto her street and something in her chest tightened. She didn't know why. She pushed the feeling aside. She was just tired, she told herself, tired and emotional, and finally home. She stood at her own front door, flowers in one hand, a small gift bag in the other, and she knocked. She knocked because the key didn't work. She stood there for a long moment, frowning at the lock. It was new, different. She tried again. Nothing. So she knocked harder, confused, a little embarrassed, wondering if Raymond had simply replaced it and forgotten to tell her. And then the door opened. And the woman standing in it was Zanab, her best friend. Zanab, wearing Linda's blouse, the one Linda had left hanging in the wardrobe. Zanab rose. Then she smiled, that nervous, cornered kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Linda, she said, you're home. And something inside Linda, something quiet and careful that had kept her going through every night shift, every lonely birthday, every moment she had talked herself out of despair, began very slowly to crack. She walked in. She couldn't not. It was her house, except nothing about it felt like hers anymore. The sofa she had chosen online from abroad, gone. Replaced with one she didn't recognize. The curtains, different. The kitchen, reorganized. Her photographs on the walls, gone. In the living room, in the hallway, on the bedroom dresser, there were new pictures. Raymond and Zanab, laughing at a restaurant, standing together at a party, posing like a couple with nowhere left to hide. How long? Linda asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Zanab sat down. She didn't look Linda in the eye right away. Then she spoke, and every word fell like a stone into still water. 2 years, she said. It started gradually. Raymond was lonely. You were always away. I was just here. Just here. As if proximity was enough to excuse everything.
as if loneliness was a key that unlocked fidelity, friendship, and basic human decency all at once. Linda did not scream. She did not cry. She sat very still and she waited. She waited for Raymond. He walked in 40 minutes later and stopped dead when he saw her. For one brief second, Linda saw guilt cross his face. Real guilt, raw and naked. And then, just as quickly, it hardened into something else. Something she had not expected. Defiance. "You abandoned this marriage," he said. He didn't apologize. He didn't break down. He stood in the doorway of the house she had funded, looked her directly in the eye and said, "You chose your career over us. You left me here alone for 3 years. What did you expect?" What did she expect? 3 years of sacrifice, and he asked her what she expected. The conversation that followed was one of those conversations you don't come back from. The kind where someone shows you in one evening exactly who they have been behind your back for years. Raymond admitted he had fallen in love with Zainab. He admitted Zainab had been living in the house for 2 years. And then, like a man who had been holding a secret, and was now almost relieved to let it go, he told her the worst of it. He had forged the house documents. A house Linda had built with foreign currency, with night shifts, with missed Christmases and aching homesickness. The house that was supposed to be both of theirs. He had quietly, deliberately transferred the title deed into his name alone. "And I was planning to file for divorce next month," he added, like it was nothing. Like she was a minor inconvenience he had been slowly clearing from his life. Linda looked at him for a long time, and then she opened her handbag. "Don't go anywhere. We're just getting to the part where everything turns around. If the story is moving you the way it's moving me, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you haven't subscribed to Tales by RM yet, do it now. Every week, we bring you stories exactly like this one. Real, raw, unforgettable. Now, let's talk about what Linda had in that bag.
3 years away had taught Linda many things. It had taught her to work when she was exhausted, to smile when she was breaking, to carry herself with dignity in rooms where no one knew her name. But the most important thing those 3 years had taught her was to be prepared. She laid the envelope on the table between them. "Before you say another word about that house," she said quietly, "I want you to read this." Inside the envelope were legal documents, carefully gathered, professionally verified, proving that every transfer Linda had made from abroad had been documented as a foreign investment. Under international joint asset protection law, the house could not be unilaterally transferred. Raymond's forged documents, they meant nothing, less than nothing. The house was still legally tied to both of them, and Linda had the international paper trail to prove it. Raymond's face changed. Zainab's changed too. But Linda was not done. "I also want to tell you why I came home early," she said. She had not come home early on a whim. She had not simply missed Kumosity. For the past 8 months, Linda had been receiving anonymous emails. Emails with photographs, emails with videos, emails with bank statements showing exactly what her money had been spent on and by whom. Someone had been watching. Someone had been gathering evidence. Someone had decided that Linda deserved to know the truth and had sent it to her piece by piece, month by month, until she had enough to walk in that door with the full picture already in her hands. She let the silence stretch out before she said the name. Chiki. Chiki, the man Zainab had been secretly engaged to, a quiet, observant man who had discovered his fiancée's double life, had investigated the situation carefully and had sent every shred of evidence to the one person who deserved it most. The room was completely still. Raymond turned to Zainab slowly. "You were engaged?" And just like that, the alliance that had been built on deception began to eat itself alive. Raymond had thought Zainab had moved in because she loved him. He had thought he was the only one. He had told himself a whole story about Linda being absent and Zainab being present and love finding a way. But Zainab had been playing a different game entirely. She had been stringing along not one man, but two. And now in this one room on this one night, both of them finally saw it clearly. The shouting that followed lasted hours. Linda sat back and let it happen.
By the time the sun came up over Como City, Zainab was gone. She packed her bags in silence, didn't say goodbye, and disappeared from that house as if she had never been there, taking nothing but the shame of what she had built and the rubble of what she had destroyed. Raymond stood in the living room, looking older than Linda had ever seen him. He was not the confident, defiant man from the night before. He was something smaller, something tired and ashamed, and quietly terrified of what came next. "I'm sorry," he said. "Linda, please, give me another chance. I made a mistake. I made a terrible mistake." Linda looked at him for a long moment. She looked at the house she had paid for, the walls she had furnished from a distance, the life she had built with her hands and her sweat and her faith in a man who would use that faith to pave a road she was never meant to travel back on. She said it quietly, gently even, but she said it the way a woman says something she has already made peace with. "Don't ask me for something you failed to protect, Raymond." And she walked to the bedroom, her bedroom, closed the door behind her, and slept for the first time in days like a woman who had finally put down something very, very heavy. Linda filed for divorce. She fought for and won her rightful share of the house through the courts. The sale went through cleanly. Raymond, stripped of his leverage, had no choice but to accept. He moved into a smaller apartment on the other side of the city. Zainab was never heard from in those circles again. And Linda? Linda took her money, her international experience, her hard-won wisdom, and she opened a private healthcare consultancy right there in Como City. She did not leave again. She did not need to. She had come home to build a future, and that is exactly what she did. Just not the one she had imagined. A better one, a cleaner one that belonged entirely and only to her. They say betrayal only has the power to break you if you weren't paying attention. Linda had been paying attention for 8 months. She had been building her case the same way she had built everything else in her life. Quietly, carefully, with her whole heart. And when the moment came, she didn't raise her voice. She didn't beg. She didn't fall apart. She just opened her bag. Because the most powerful thing a woman can do is let the truth speak for itself. If Linda's story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you know or a season you survived, drop a comment below. Tell us what was the line that hit you the hardest. And if you are watching this and you are in the middle of your own Linda moment, still working, still building, still trusting, keep going. Your table turn is coming. Subscribe to Tales by RM if you haven't already. Share this video with one person who needs it today, and we will see you in the next story. Because at Tales by RM, we don't just tell stories, we tell the ones that matter.